Good morning, Facebook. It's Reuben here again. And if you guys have been following my videos, you know today is a big day where we finally do the valve adjustment on the RX3. Yesterday we finally hit 500 miles, almost on the dot, 500.3 to be exact. And today I plan on making this video more of a tutorial, step-by-step guide. We're going to take our time, go through all the steps, because searching the internet, I haven't found anyone who has been courageous enough to make a video on this topic and showing people how to go through the process, you know, in a visual manner. So today I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do that. And as I bring you guys along, I'm gonna tell you guys things that you might want to look out for, and maybe some tips and tricks, and also hopefully you can learn from my mistakes as well, you know. But I think the important thing here today is that I take our time, and also if you're doing this for the first time yourself, also plan it out, you know, take your time, don't rush. You want to get this thing done right, and that way you don't have to, you know, redo steps all over again. All right, so I'm gonna start with the first step. I'm gonna be looking at the actual tutorial that they have on the CSC website, and we're gonna get started. All right, first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to take the seat off of the bike. So if you take your key, there's a keyhole on the left side. This will pop off the rear seat when you twist that. You lift this up, and then there's going to be two bolts holding the main seat on. You're going to unscrew these two bolts, and we're going to take both seats off. All right. And pro tip number one for you guys, make sure you have some type of container to put all of your bolts and things that you're going to be taking off the bike, so that way you don't lose them. All right, I grabbed this from the kitchen. It's just a kitchen bowl. Some people have magnetic ones. You know, find whatever you can. Just keep your bolts and things organized. All right. Okay, now with both seats off, and if you guys are wondering, these are 8mm bolts, by the way. So make sure you have an 8mm socket to remove those. The next thing that we need to do is we need to remove the bodywork around the gas tank. Now, I'm not sure if that also entails, you know, these panels here. Once I figure that out, I'll let you guys know. And so stay tuned for that. All right, guys, I figured out which body panels are necessary to remove and which ones aren't. For example, this one on the left side of the bike so far, you don't need to take it completely off. You just need to unloosen it enough so that way you can get access to some bolts that are mainly this bolt that's going to be underneath. But besides that, the gas tank is going to be secured by a bolt here. That's going to be 13mm. Then there's going to be small plastic fairings that are going to be on the sides. They look like this. Okay, you're going to remove those as well. They're going to have Phillips head screws. So you remove those screws. There's going to be a Phillips head screw here. Then these screws on the top here. Okay, they're also going to have hex bolts. All right. You're going to use this hex key. It's going to be a size 5. There's going to be a screw down here. That's going to be a Phillips. There's going to be a screw here. That's also going to be a Phillips. There's going to be a screw underneath. Okay. That's also going to be a Phillips. There's going to be a screw down here. That will also be a Phillips head. And then lastly, there is one more bolt. You guys can see down there. Okay, right there. This is the last one. Alright, and it's secured on with a hex key. And I'm going to get this last bolt off. And I'm going to take the plastic off, and then we'll see the end result. Alright, that's how it should look like with the left fairing removed. As you can see, we have access to the engine now. So I'm going to go ahead and get the right side uncovered, and I'll tell you guys anything that I run into on the right side, okay? Okay guys, for the right side, the main difference is that you're actually going to take this whole panel off that covers up the battery instead of leaving it on like the other side. And the main reason why it's left on from the other side is because the keyhole is there. Okay. And then as far as this fairing is concerned, it's basically the same story, all the same bolts in the same spots. Also the one on the inside, but I think the main difference though is that on the right side you have the coolant reservoir attached to the fairing. So you want to make sure that you unbolt the coolant reservoir before you just yank it off, okay? Alright, so with this next step, you're supposed to get the gas tank out of the way. What I've done is I have unplugged the connections to the gas tank underneath, but I left the hoses attached because I didn't want to spill gas everywhere. But nonetheless, gas is still spilling, you know, from underneath. There is an extra long hose that normally hangs from the gas tank. It's like a really skinny hose. I tried to loop that hose back. I think it's yeah, this really long hose right here. I tried to loop that one back into whatever that thing is, but it's still just overflowing gas. And I really wish CSC would include in their tutorial specifically how to remove the gas tank without making a huge mess, because this is also dangerous, you know. It's very vague. It doesn't tell you specifically what to uninstall or how the process is. It just tells you to remove the fairings and to remove the gas tank. So I really wish CSC would be more specific about that, because I don't want to be spilling gas all over the place like it's doing right now. Alright, well, we're going to try to get to the next part and hurry this up so I don't lose all my gas. Alright y'all, I stand corrected. Another thing that one of the mistakes you want to learn from, don't be like me. When you're taking the tank, or when you're moving the tank rather, and you're trying to set it in a place out of the way, make sure the tank stays as upright as possible. When the tank is on the bike, it's in a more upright position, because once you start to tilt it back or forth, the gas, especially when it's full, like it is for me, it's going to start coming up and in the overflow section of the tank. And when it's in the overflow section of the tank, this is why gas starts to spill on the floor. Okay? Because now it's stopped. So the gas is at a level now, most likely, where it's not coming into the overflow section. So if you do this job in the first place without a full tank of gas like me, you probably won't run into this issue. But just in general, don't lay the gas tank on its side. Don't do anything, you know, ridiculous, and you won't have gas spilling out of the overflow hoses. Okay? Alright, now that you guys have this exposed, we're going to be accessing those two bolts that are holding the cover on. They're going to be 8mm bolts. Alright? And a pro tip to be able to do this is use extensions. Extensions are your friend. Alright? Work smarter, not harder. Alright. Alright guys, the next step that we want to do after we've taken the cover off of the back end of the cylinder head, or the top of the engine. We want to gain access to the front portion, and to do that we have to go in here. Okay, that's going to be the front part, but in order to access it we have to move the radiators out of the way. Now, the instructions on the CSC website, you don't have to remove the radiator in itself. You just need to unbolt it so that it can, you know, that you can move it out the way. And the two bolts that you need to unbolt, and these are the only ones, one's going to be down here, okay, and the other one's going to be right above it, on top of there. They're both going to be 8mm bolts. They're going to look like so. Alright, this little piece sits inside of the rubber insert on the radiator, so if you want you can go ahead and take that out, just so they don't fall on the floor anyway. Alright, and another pro tip, because it's kind of hard to reach in there, again, extensions, they're your friend. You can go right through the case just like so, and it'll go right to the bolt. Alright. Alright, on the left side of the bike, the left radiator, I believe it's a different story. You do still have the one bolt that's down here. You can use an extension to go through the crash bar to get to that one. But for the one on the top, it's hidden behind the radiator hose, and it's not accessible with a extension. And it's a underneath this rubber hose is this radiator sleeve. It's made out of metal, and so this doesn't bend at all. So you're gonna have to take the hose off. So CSC should add that in their instructions, that on the left side you indeed do have to take the hose off, because there's no other way to get to the bolt. Alright, so with the hose unattached, you'll have access to the bolt right underneath. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this loose, and then we'll see if we can get to the back engine cover. Alright, so now with that out of the way, with a smaller extension on your ratchet, you can come from around the radiator and get access to the first bolt down below on the back engine cover. Okay. Alright folks, now we're back on the right side of the bike, and generally what you'd want to do when you want to access the top bolt here, I mean, you would want to just go straight through here. Let me get you guys back here. You can see. Alright, and just go straight through to the top bolt. The problem with that is you got this part right there in your way. Okay? Now you have two options. You can either unscrew this and try to remove this whole assembly here, or you can do what I'm doing is I'm just going to use a regular wrench to get this one off. It's going to be 8mm as well, but in order to do that you're going to have to take off the radiator hose. So decide what it is that you want to do, but I'm sure most people are going to try to go ahead and take off the radiator hose, and then you're just going to pull it through, alright, and put it on the other side. Keep it upright so it doesn't spill everywhere. Okay, but once again, you know, you do have to remove hoses. Alright. Alright guys, here I am at the store having to pick up an 8mm wrench because I found out I didn't have one, so make sure you guys have an 8mm wrench. Alright, I'm back, and finally we're going to break this. I broke the bolt free with the wrench I just bought, and we can finally get this bolt off and get this other cover off. And there we go. All right. So what I would do is I would just read the inside of each cover, just so you don't get them mixed up. Okay. All right. All right. I also had to stop by the store to get a 10mm hex key or Allen key, whatever they like to call it. So once again, make sure you guys have all the tools you need for the job. I just found out that I didn't have this. All right, guys, I finally made it back home. I got my 10mm socket, and I've already loosened this little cover on this side. That's going to expose the bolt to the crankcase, which you're going to be turning to turn the engine over to top dead center. And you're also going to be monitoring that by taking this cap off on this side. That takes a 6mm bolt. You see in there. I don't know if you guys could see in there, but when you're able to look in there while you're turning it, you can see the different letters that needs to match up with the line, so it'll be at top dead center. But before you do that, they want you to also remove the spark plug on this side. It's going to be on the side where the exhaust is, and it's right there. Okay, so this wire is going to be connected right down there. So you take that off, and then we're ready to start turning it to line it up with the letters. All right. Okay, once you guys have spun it around a couple of times, you're going to feel the engine compress and decompress. You'll see the rocker arms move, and we want to get this scriber right on the T, just like so. I might have to move it just a little bit more. Sorry. All right, just like that. Okay, and now with it just like that, we can go ahead and adjust the valves. All right, guys, for this side, which is the front side, I put the 0.6mm one in there. It slides in and out relatively easily, but the 0.8mm doesn't fit in at all. And I'm reading the actual instructions. You want it to be somewhere in between 0.6 and 0.8. So you don't really want 0.8 to fit either, because then it'll be a little bit too large. So it might be already in the right setting, but I'm going to go ahead and check the back side and see how that one's doing. All right. So as you guys can see, it's relatively snug, but the 0.8mm indeed fits on the back side. So these ones, let me flip this around. So these ones will definitely need to be adjusted on the back side. So I will see how I can do that. Alright, guys, so far I'm gonna just have to keep it real. Today has really been a royal pain in my backside dealing with this thing. But I did get these things loose. You will have to unplug this connector, which goes down in here, because it's just in the way. So you got to get this out of the way, and in doing so, trying to fiddle around with this thing, because they're on pretty tight. I actually happened to bump into my gas tank, and it dropped off the bike. So now I got scratches on it, but it's not leaking though. But yeah, anyway, I got these loose, And now I'm going to try to get a screwdriver. Where did I put it? Over here to tighten these up. Alright, so I'm going to get back with you guys in just a second. Alright guys, I've been going back and forth with both of these valves for about a little over 20 minutes. Just trying to fine tune it to the perfect little setting. And I think I got it. So, just so you guys can see, here is, for the focus. Will it focus? Okay, well anyway, just take my word for it. This is 0.8 and this is, oh yeah, there we go, 0.6. 0.8, 0.6, all right? So we're going to get in here. Let me see if this one fits. And that is a no. You take the 0.6 and it slides on through. Oh, sorry. Focus. It slides on through. Again, 0.8, 0.6 slides through. Cool. This one is a no with the 0.8 and then the 0.6 slides on through. So we know that it's in between that tolerance that you know, that's required on the CSC website. Okay. For the backs, or for the front side I should say, I'm gonna put you guys down real quick. Okay, so now again, it's harder to get this one with one hand. Oh man. I'm trying. So this is in general why it is that I usually don't work while recording, because it's just really hard to do this one-handed. I'm gonna try my best though. Gosh. Okay, just give me a minute. Alright, on the front side, I actually rechecked it, and actually the 0.8 focus does fit. So I'm gonna have to, I actually do have to adjust the front side. I previously said I didn't. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust it, and then I'll get back right with you guys. Alright guys, I finally got the tolerances in the position that I wanted them to be, in between the 0.6 and 0.8. I tested them multiple times. We are losing daylight. I've been out here for almost 5 hours now fiddling with this thing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to get well, not everything. I'm gonna just get certain pieces back together so that way I can fire her up and see how she's running. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'll be back with you guys soon. All right, you guys. I think this is just gonna be it. I can't safely fire the bike up because when I put the gas tank back on, it's literally leaking gas everywhere, all over the place. And I have no idea. I found this tube here broken, and I have no idea what that goes to. Yeah, the gas just won't stop leaking, so I'm just gonna have to call it quits for today. Sorry I didn't get to finish the video, but yeah, I'm probably going to be out of commission with this bike for quite a while. Alright, well, sorry to leave on a sad note. Well, first off, you guys can learn from my mistakes. And this is probably the main reason why it is that I attempted to do this in the first place anyway. Because had there have been someone out there with some type of tutorial video to show you exactly what it is you needed to do, then things like this probably wouldn't happen. So, you know, learn from my mistakes. take the gas tank off completely. Doesn't matter if you're going to spill gas everywhere. You're going to do it anyway. And also don't do it with a full tank like I did. And that way, you know, you won't drop your gas tank, or you won't, you know, break random hoses like I have. And that way, when you put it all the way back onto your bike, you can actually use it. Okay, well, that wraps up this video. I'll see y'all later. Alright, little bonus video. I found the issue where the hose broke off, and it's right here. So there's supposed to be, this hose is also supposed to connect to this little guy in here with this hose. And I'm assuming when the gas tank fell that the hose broke. So that's probably most likely what happened. So I'm gonna just have to take the gas tank off and wait, or try to get another one of these hoses as soon as possible, and you know, then I can finally try to put everything back together again. All right.